Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and thank you for tuning in to Canal Algérie's nightly news. On to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and National Defense Minister receives the Senegalese Armed Forces Minister and the Special Envoy of Senegal's President, bearing a message to the head of state. The President of the Republic receives the credentials of 3 new ambassadors to Algeria, namely the Ambassador of China, the United Kingdom, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, in addition to that of the Hellenic Republic. A ceasefire in Gaza and Algeria hails this truce, ending a 15-month devastating war on the Palestinian enclave. And in our history window, we shed light on testimonies of a French historian revealing horrible colonial exactions. Welcome back. We begin with tonight's top story as the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, received today the Minister of Armed Forces of the Republic of Senegal, Birame Diop, Special Envoy of the Senegalese President, carrying a letter to the President of the Republic. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem. Let's have a listen to the statement he gave our reporter. We are here to meet His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, carrying a message by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Senegal, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. It was a friendship and fraternity message, but also a congratulations message following the re-election of the Algerian President Tebboune. During our meeting, we reviewed the access of the relations between Algeria and Senegal, and we agree that they are of great quality. We are keen to work closely to improve, diversify, and expand these already satisfying relations, notably at the level of education, training of our executives, as the Senegalese authorities attach great importance to human resources and reinforcing its capacity. In addition to hydrocarbons field, because Senegal is now a producing country of petroleum and gas, and Algeria's experience can be greatly beneficial to us. We are also keen on working together to promote the relations to the best possible conditions, which will not be hard given that we share with Algeria many principles, namely the sovereignty and the right to self-determination, which is crucial for the authorities of both countries. Algeria and Senegal attach great importance to international solidarity because we have common gains to protect. Both countries also focus greatly on African integration, which is possible through strong, capable institutions, thanks to its personnel that should be well-trained with fundamental knowledge and vision. In this respect, both Algeria and Senegal work together for these regional, continental, or international institutions to accompany states to achieve their objectives. Similarly, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, presided today over the ceremony of the presentation of credentials of 3 new ambassadors to Algeria, including His Excellency, the Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, Guangli Dong. The ceremony took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem, the Premier Nadir El-Arbaoui, the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf.
دون غوانغلي سفير جمهورية الصين الشعبية.
Monsieur le Président, j'ai l'honneur de vous remettre les lettres de créance par lesquelles son Excellence, M. Xi Jinping, Président de la République populaire de Chine, m'accrédite en tant qu'ambassadeur extraordinaire et plénipotentiaire de la République populaire de Chine auprès de la République algérienne démocratique et populaire.
Let's have a listen to the new Chinese ambassador. I have just delivered my credentials to His Excellency, the President of the Republic. I am honored to serve in Algeria, a brotherly and friendly country with whom we have a revolutionary and friendly historical relations for 67 years. I assure the President that I will spare no effort to achieve my mission to work with Algerian friends in all fields, to implement the orientations of both heads of state by consolidating political trust, giving a new momentum to economic and trade relations, especially investment of China and Algeria, in addition to diversifying cultural and human exchanges and strengthening friendship ties. I am happy to observe that under the clear visionary leadership of President Tebboune, Algeria has embarked on a development path, and China fully supports it. You have our unwavering support accompanying you in your approach in international and regional issues, such as at the level of the UN Security Council, Arab League, African Union, and Global South. Similar to us in China, you have your own modernization architecture for New Algeria. We will work together to find synergies to inspire one another in development strategies between both countries for the benefit and the well-being of the peoples, and to contribute to peace and stability of the world. I also seize the opportunity to wish all of our Algerian friends a happy new year filled with success, happiness, and health. The President of the Republic also presided over the presentation ceremony of His Excellency, the Ambassador of the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and Northern Ireland, James Robert Stephen Downer.
جيمس روبرت ستيفن داونر سفير المملكة المتحدة لبريطانيا العظمى وإيرلندا الشمالية.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present the letter of credence by which His Majesty King Charles III appointed me as Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria.
Let's have a listen.
إنه لي شرف عظيم أن أمثل المملكة.
It's an honor for me to represent the United Kingdom in Algeria. I'm very moved by the President's hospitality. The relations between the United Kingdom and Algeria are very strong, based on a partnership spirit and mutual respect. We have solid ties in terms of trade, defense, culture, and education. We are aware of the Algerians' interest in English as a tool of education. We try to achieve this goal. My government is ready to move forward to consolidating our cooperation in all fields, notably in terms of climate change and the energy transition. Regarding trade, we look forward to enhancing it to promote development in both countries. We work together to face one of the greatest challenges in the world. We consider Algeria as a key partner for the UK in Africa. At the international level, we work together as well, notably with Algeria chairing the UN Security Council. Personally, I'm eager to know more about this country, its glorious history and dynamic youth, willing to visit most of the provinces to discover the diversity of Algeria. We hope to upgrade cooperation between the UK and Algeria. Thank you very much.
President Tebboune has also chaired the presentation ceremony of the credentials of a new ambassador, His Excellency the Ambassador of the Hellenic Republic, Nicholas Fergus, a ceremony that took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, the Premier Nadir Al-Arbawi, the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf.
كولاوس فيريس سفير الجمهورية الهيلينية.
Monsieur le Président, j'ai l'honneur de vous transmettre les lettres de créance par lesquelles Son Excellence, la Présidente de la République, Ekaterine Singhilaropoulou, m'accrédite en tant qu'ambassadeur extraordinaire et plénipotentiaire auprès de la République algérienne démocratique populaire.
Let's listen to what he had to say following the ceremony.
Algeria and Greece have had always good friendship relations and for a long time. And as a Mediterranean country, we had fruitful discussions with the President of the Republic. We decided to upgrade our economic relations to be up to the level of our political relations. Greece kicks off its mandate as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council and aspires to have a fruitful cooperation with Algeria, since both countries have the same values, namely the respect of the international law, the non-interference in domestic affairs of other countries. We stick to the UN Charter as well. The political consultations between the two countries will be held on February the 13th. Then we will hold a joint meeting to further beef up our bilateral relations.
And back to yesterday's breaking news on the historic agreement for ceasefire in Gaza Strip. Algeria welcomed with satisfaction the announcement of this agreement, an agreement to end the ordeal of the Palestinian people who have been suffering a real genocide for more than 15 months. Algeria also hailed the fruitful efforts made by the International Mediation Group and called for the realization of this agreement in its various aspects, in particular that of a global and permanent ceasefire and that of the delivery of aid to the Palestinian people, as well as the withdrawal of the Zionist occupation forces from the Palestinian territories. During the 15 months of the genocide on Gaza, Algeria was heavily involved in negotiations for ceasefire. Through its approach, Algeria spared no effort in this regard, notably its adhesion to the UN Security Council. Further details with Melissa Lila Balaman.
Long demanded by Algeria, the announcement of the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip, which puts an end to over 467 days of a destructive war, marks a major step forward, crowning the tireless efforts of the Algerian diplomacy to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people. In line with the directives of the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, Algeria, through its permanent representation to the United Nations, has spared no effort since its accession in early 2024 to the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member to put a halt to the Zionist aggression in Gaza. Algeria's diplomatic mission at the UN has undertaken numerous initiatives to put an end to the humanitarian tragedy endured by the Palestinians and ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid and medical care in accordance with international humanitarian law. During its mandate within the UN body, Algeria has served as a voice for the Palestinian people, making the defense of this fair cause a priority. To this end, it has convened several Security Council meetings dedicated to Palestine and the situation in Gaza. Since January 2024, Algeria has also engaged the process of granting full membership to the State of Palestine in the United Nations. It has consistently submitted numerous resolutions and statements aimed at curbing the Zionist aggression in Palestinian territories. While the announcement of the ceasefire in Gaza, ravaged by 15 months of war, is of crucial importance, Algeria believes that concrete actions for long-lasting peace are crucial as well. Presiding over the central UN body for the month of January, Algeria remains determined to pursue its relentless efforts to consolidate stability and security on the regional and international stage.
Indeed, it was the outcome of long negotiations. A ceasefire was announced in Gaza to end the 15-month devastating war on the Palestinian enclave. The truce is to be implemented in 3 phases to restore peace and security in the region. More insights with Selim Merah.
After 15 months of horrendous crimes on Gaza, a ceasefire has been brokered after long negotiations, an important break for thousands of Palestinians completely exhausted of devastating war and harsh living conditions. The deal is expected to be implemented in 3 phases, starting on Sunday. The first phase includes a truce of 42 days and the liberation of 33 Zionist detainees against 1,000 Palestinian prisoners and the withdrawal of the Zionist army from areas heavily inhabited by Palestinians. A period during which 600 lorries of aid will have access to the Palestinian enclave. Freeing prisoners is involved as well in the second phase with a complete withdrawal of the Zionist forces from Gaza. The third phase will be devoted to rebuilding Gaza, a process that would take years, in addition to the return of any remaining hostages' bodies. The announcement of this ceasefire didn't halt the Zionist atrocities, with fresh strikes killing more than 60 Palestinians, prolonging the list of martyrs claimed by this brutal war since October the 7th, 2023.
The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, received today at the headquarters of the ministry the Minister of Armed Forces of the Republic of Senegal, a brotherly country, General Biram Diop, who is on an official visit to Algeria in his capacity as the special envoy of the Senegalese President, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, to the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune. The audience was the occasion to review the cooperation relations by Algeria and Senegal and to examine the perspectives of reinforcing it in accordance with the orientations of the heads of both countries. Both ministers have discussed issues related to the upcoming continental appointments. In other news, Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, received a call from the European Commissioner for Mediterranean Affairs, Dubravka Srika, in a call that enabled the exchange of analysis and views on several regional and international issues of common interest in several fields. And the Foreign Minister has also received today at the headquarters of the ministry the Slovenian Secretary of State in charge of European political, international law, preservation of interests issues, Marko Stolcin, on a visit to Algeria in the framework of the third session of the bilateral political consultations. This meeting allowed both parties to review the latest developments and reinforcing Algerian-Slovenia cooperation, and to also review several international and regional issues, notably the ceasefire in Gaza. In his capacity as a representative of the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, the Minister of Mujahideen, or War Veterans and Rights Holders, Laider Biga, was received by the President of Mozambique, Daniel Francisco Chapo, to whom he delivered a letter from his brother, the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune. The President of Mozambique expressed gratitude to the Algerian President, who tasked the Minister of War Veterans to represent him at the inauguration ceremony, reflecting thus by the excellent historic relations between both countries. Chapo has also expressed his willingness to reinforce bilateral relations to be at the level of the historical relations. For his part, the Minister of Health, Abdelhak Saihi, was received by the President of the Republic of Cape Verde, José Maria Neves, in the framework of his official visit in his capacity as a representative of the President of the Republic. Saihi delivered a letter from President Tebboune to the President of Cape Verde, while also conveying brotherly greetings of the President of the Republic and his firm willingness to reinforce and expand bilateral relations binding both countries. Saihi was also received yesterday by the President of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, Alassane Dramane Ouattara. The meeting was an occasion to review the different dimensions of cooperation relations between both countries and to explore means and ways to raise them to higher levels in accordance with the aspirations of both countries. It was also agreed upon to reactivate the major Algerian-Ivorian Joint Cooperation Committee while reinforcing cooperation in several sectors of activity. Coming up in our news edition. The situation is always alarming in Morocco, with the regime turning a deaf ear to citizens holding daily demonstrations to reverse the current trend. In our history window, we are introducing you tonight to a historian and the daughter of a French military officer who unveiled the crimes of her father and through it the crimes of colonial France. Ilissalila Balaman.
Isabelle Va, a French historian and author of the book La Petite Fille de Mostaganem, or The Little Girl of Mostaganem, feels deeply connected to this city, despite the fact that she has never gone there before. At just 8 years old, Isabelle discovered family archives showing her father torturing Algerian victims in cold blood. It took her 40 years to rebuild herself. Today, having cut all ties with her criminal father, Isabelle has developed a deeply emotional connection with Algeria. During a conference at the University of Algiers 3, Isabelle Va emphasized the importance of recognizing that French colonialism in Algeria as a crime against humanity.
Faut arrêter de dire que le colonialisme a des bienfaits.
We must stop saying that colonialism has benefits. I can't even bear to hear that. It's unacceptable, and it must be denounced. Since when can we accept a country saying out of the blue, knock knock, you're leaving, this place is mine now? I can only contribute by conveying explanations, raising awareness, and staying committed to this. I do all I can.
Et de l'engagement. Et je fais ce que je peux, moi.
Therefore, it becomes imperative to pursue a legal approach based on all historical references to firmly condemn colonialism. Since when does recognizing a crime erases the crime? Admitting one's crimes is a whole different matter. However, I have the necessary means to incriminate France for crimes against humanity. The illusions of an idealized colonial past clash with a clear-sighted generation, rooted and determined to definitively turn the page on all forms of interference.
And in today's France, numerous French people express their affection and fraternal relations with the Algerian people, while certain politicians continue the racist declarations. This has caused many voices to rise, one of them being a French deputy from La France Insoumise, who denounced the provocations of the French Interior Minister, whom she calls a mere agitator. Melissa Lila Balaman once again.
The escalation of hateful and irresponsible hostility against Algeria by the French far right and its neo-colonial undertones within the country's government continues to provoke strong reactions. La France Insoumise, through its parliamentary group in the French National Assembly, has sharply criticized French ministers and officials who have attacked Algeria. The president of the parliamentary group, Mathilde Panot, condemned the interior minister's statements against Algeria, describing him as a mere agitator.
Votre ministre de l'Intérieur s'est illustré par ses déclarations racistes.
Your interior minister has made racist statements referring to some of our fellow citizens as paper French. He pretends to act as a diplomat with Algeria, but is in reality nothing more than a mere agitator. Who does Bruno Retailleau think he is? Trying to provoke unbearable tension for millions of French people who maintain a direct relationship of affection and respectful fraternity with the Algerian people.
Les Algériens, quand il s'agissait de combattre aux côtés de la France.
You were happy to call on the Algerians when it came to fighting alongside France. You were quite happy when it came to rebuilding the country. You were quite happy when it came to building your second homes and swimming pools. But today, now that they are integrated, that they have the same jobs, the same aspirations, the same dreams, now that they share the same vision of society, now it's no.
Là, c'est non.
Amid this wave of hatred towards Algerians, several voices have risen to criticize the provocations of French ministers and officials against Algeria. Catherine Tricot, director of the magazine Regard, reacted to the statements of the French Interior Minister, emphasizing that relations with Algeria are of great importance, noting that nearly a quarter of the French people have ties with Algeria. In the same context, the French-Algerian Federation for Consolidation and Renewal expressed its deepest indignation at the political and media campaign targeting Algeria and Algerians.
The situation is always alarming in Morocco, given the repressive policy of the Makhzen regime to impoverish citizens and deter them from the real issues facing the country. In the meantime, demonstrations are held throughout the country to change the current critical situation. Salim Mirah reports.
ما تخرجش ليا والدية وتلوحهم الزنقة وانت ما عطيهم لا دار لا دوار 5 أخوت وأم هي 6.
احنا ضعنا في هذا الكريان، رضعنا بولادنا.
يشردونا انا ما غنخرجوا، لا غادي نبقاو في محلاتنا ويجيو يريقوا علينا اللهم يقتلونا.
انا ما كنتش حاسه بيه، انا كنقول بلاد جدودي ووالديا وانا ديما فيه.
While the untold suffering of Moroccans is heading towards the worst, the Makhzen regime seems to be fully involved in excessively exploiting the country's natural resources and weakening the social fabric of Morocco. Families are being expelled from their homes, the living conditions are getting tougher, pushing citizens to take to the street, demanding their most basic rights.
حنا وليداتنا هادشي اللي كنطلبوا من الناس مسؤولين.
تريب ليا عطيني السكن فين نستقر انا ووليداتي، راه عائله هنا.
With a high rate of unemployment, Moroccan families are struggling to survive amid precarious living conditions, low purchasing power, while the government is turning a deaf ear to all these legitimate demands, pushing the country towards chaos.
That was all for our daily bulletin. Good night and take care.